Sup, creeps? It's Noelle, you're a weirdo Wisconsinite, and I am here with Scott, the owner of 43 Skulls Oddities, right here in the home city of your favorite creep. I'm so excited. So thank you for having me here.
You bet.
I'm very excited to walk around. We're just going to ask a couple questions, and because I'm sure people want to know about oddities and how you got into the field of not only loving them, but having an awesome shop like this.
Well, thank you. The way I got into oddities, and nobody's going to be able to see this, but behind our counter is a leg, prosthetic leg and a jean. See up on the counter?
You guys will see it later. I'll make sure.
So when I was 11, 12 years old, my grandfather passed away. And my grandmother asked me if there was anything in my grandfather I wanted. And I wanted his prosthetic leg, which she thought was very weird because she was going to toss it out. He had an extra prosthetic. He was buried with his prosthetic, but he had an extra one. Mm-hmm. Anyways, that's the first piece in my collection. Okay. And that is what snowballed this thing the rest of my life.
Really?
Yeah. It just drove me into a passion for art and macabre, and it's been super successful since day one, really.
I think most people have that in them. They're curious. They want, it's more about that. It's that thing that you're not supposed to like a prosthetic leg, but there's something that's either the memory. Maybe it's not even something that's morbid. It's a memory, every time you look at it, or you're like, I wonder X, Y, Z. So I think that's why. And nowadays people are a little more open, I think, about exploring that part of their brain.
Well, when I was younger and started collecting things like this, people looked at you like you were crazy, or what's wrong with that kid? Is he going to be a serial killer?
Right.
And it's not anything other than fascination for strange things or unique items.
I can appreciate that.
Human skulls. I mean, doctors had years ago to do the research and studies, they'd use real human skulls because back then it was cheaper than injection molding. You didn't have injection molding or plastic prosthetics of that nature, so you had to use the real thing to learn. So a lot of these things are very educational, and people are looking at them more so that way nowadays than years ago when it was, he's got a human skull, who'd he kill?
Right. Why do you have a human skull? Right. Yeah. Total side note, I love being home. The accent. The people that listen, most of this are not from Wisconsin. Gotcha. So they're going to really, if my accent gets thicker, guys, if you're listening, it's because I'm here and I can hear his, and it's fantastic. But I agree. Death is constant. People are always dying. Yep. And I think there's always an influx of, especially back then when they really used more live samples, things that came from that. People forgot. How do you think we studied us? How do you think you studied how to cure illnesses? You had to dissect a fellow human to do it. Yep. So now, granted, I think I like modern oddity shops because there's more than just learning tools. You find strange things like fossilized poo.
That's right.
How interesting. Yep. Speaking of, we were looking around. I was walking around, and I'm looking for an item for the touch table that we have. Guys, come to the convention. You'll see it. And fossilized poo. Do you think that there could be memories attached in there? Some sort of place memory? As funny and macabre as that may be.
I do. I think anything is possible. I think for a lot of things, there's scientific explanations. I think for a lot of things, there's no explanation.
Sure.
Anything is possible. It's just a matter of, what, and again, it goes with the education of these things, The more you educate yourself, the more you realize, okay, well, some of these things are explainable. On the other hand, the more you educate yourself, sometimes it just makes you wonder what the hell is going on.
You scratch your head even more. Absolutely. Yep. Now, when you started here, you guys were not in, this used to be an old bookstore, right?
It did for many years.
Because I've been here for a very long time. Yep. I know that it used to be
Mr. Shenandoah, and that's why we put our hidden bookshelf door in, and his picture is up here in honor of him.
A little, My dad used to come get Westerns from the bookshop.
I bought from him for years.
Exactly
a lot of those
where you
books
were.
on that hidden bookshelf door are actually from this store when it
really?
was the bookstore.
Oh, and it was like wall to wall.
Piles
of books. And oh my God, it's so great to talk to somebody who knows. Oh my gosh. I love it. This is the first time we're meeting in person. I think you guys have seen me creeping on your page, but I love that you know that. So where were you originally? Like, because you started this, this is quite the collection.
Well, about 9 years ago was the first time I actually started selling off my collection. And the reason I did that was my father walked into my house one day and he was looking around and he looked confused all of a sudden. Like what's going on in here? And I looked at him, I go, you okay? He goes, shakes his head and he looks at me, he goes, you're a hoarder. And I went,
oh
what?
No.
And he went, no, it's not that bad. He goes, everything you have is displayed well, nice, and it's always clean, it's always wiped down, it's always dusted. And I pride myself on that. But he said, you've got a lot of stuff. And he left that day after we hung out for a while, and it started weighing on me. And I kept looking around and I'm going,
crap.
I do have a lot of stuff. I could probably afford to get rid of some of it. And then I started thinking, I've had some of this stuff for years. Some of this stuff is just stuff I collected in my picking and trips around the country. And I started thinking, I don't need all this stuff. Why don't I start selling some of the stuff I don't necessarily care as much about?
Sure, circulate.
And see if I can buy cooler stuff. I'm like, okay, let's try this. So about 9 years ago, we went into Memories Antique Mall. And they're in Little Chute there. We started with a little 4 foot wide by 6 foot tall display case. And my first month there, when I got my paycheck, the first 2 weeks, they pay you every 2 weeks, whatever you sell. And the first paycheck I got, my jaw hit the floor.
And it's kind of like a consignment version of that, right?
Kind of. Yeah. We rent a display case and then they sell them. But that first 2 week check, I opened it up and my jaw hit the floor. Right. I went out to look at my display case and 85% of what I had put out 2 weeks ago was gone. The display case was empty. And I went, holy shit.
Insane. Yeah.
Like, wow. So I filled it again the following 2 weeks. Same thing. I don't think I sold quite 85% of it, but it was pretty close.
Yeah.
And I went, you got to be kidding me. Because again, I come from, you kind of hide what you collect because you're the creepy kid or you're a serial killer.
Right.
To
people don't get it.
Shit, I must not be that creepy. Look at this stuff sailing off the shelf.
There's a lot of other creeps out there, myself included, hence creeps.
Right. So after the 4 foot by 6 foot, we upgraded to a booth, and that started going really well as well. Very shortly after that, right on this same street up the road was our first retail store. We shared a space with the Body Shop Tattoo, David Jacobs. And he gave us a space in there and things started selling in there. After we had that spot for a while, Dave decided he wanted to go to another location, which was up the block on the opposite side of the street. Again, still on Wisconsin Avenue. Mm-hmm. And we had a lot more space in that space that Dave had given us. And things kept selling.
Wow.
A couple of years after that move, Big Guns Tattoo offered us a space in their tattoo shop, and it probably gave us 6 times the space that we had in the previous location. And we
constantly,
we filled it right up.
Wow!
And it was an amazing ride at Big Guns Tattoo. Both those tattoo shops are awesome, great people. And they helped us get to this location, which we just opened up March 1st. And I've always been impressed with the sales in the 9 years we've actually been a retail store. But since March 1st, I have been absolutely floored by the amount of sales, the amount of people, the amount of new customers, the compliments we get on the employees, the place, how it looks. It's very humbling.
That was one of the first things. You heard me when I walked in. I was amazed. It sounds like, I mean, it looks like a curated museum.
Thank you.
And it's usually you go to antique shops. What do you see? Dust. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Everything's piled on top of you. They don't really know what they have. You walk in here, you see the wood is glossed. The floors, nice wooden floors are taken care of. Cases, the glass, no fingerprints.
And let me tell you,
amazing.
The challenge. And you look around. There's we've got some sweeping to do, but when you think about it, we've got a door on either end of the store, and there's constantly people dragging through and constantly wind blowing. Mm-hmm. So to keep everything dusted like this, let me tell you, these employees are always dusting.
Yeah.
And myself as well. We're sweeping floors, we're dusting, we're wiping glass, we're rearranging displays.
It is a challenge in any state. You're constantly dusting in a home. And it's not just, you never have a dull moment if you want to keep it nice.
Yeah, and we do that, again, I want to show people that we do care about these things. We want cool things to be put into people's hands, and it's nice to be able to walk into a store and be able to buy literally museum quality things.
Yeah.
Over my right shoulder back here is a plastinated human hand. Now that, I don't know if you're familiar with the Body Worlds exhibit.
I went to the Seattle one. It was my favorite. I had to go by myself because nobody wanted to go with me.
Yeah, but I'm 50 years old now, and I've been collecting since I was 11, 12 years old. And I've always looked for a plastination to be able to have something like that in my collection, sitting in the store for people to see.
Right.
That piece isn't for sale, but there are museum quality pieces in the store, as well as a couple of dollar items as well. We try to keep the range, because not everybody can come in here and buy a taxidermy giraffe or. Yeah. So
everyone's budget is different.
Yeah, we like to have something for everybody, and I think we've accomplished that.
I love it. I think another thing I remember I said was, you should charge people to come in here.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
But it's very smart, because when you have a hand like that, or it's just some of the samples that you have walking around, people just want to come look at that, and then they're like, "Oh, look at the uranium items or the dolls," or before you know it, they're scooping up something.
Yeah, and that's why we put chairs in, because we give them a chance to sit.
Yes, and if you guys come here, because I'm sure you're watching and listening, I'm going to put clips in. There is these awesome chairs, like these 4 chairs right up front. And it's like, hey, come BS about items, or grab, you're in your drink of coffee or whatever. I could sit in here all day.
It's
great.
That's the aesthetic we've tried to achieve. Is everybody here is welcome, unless you're an ass. Then we don't want to deal with you.
In that case, there's 2 doors from which you can leave.
Yep. But if you're a good person, come hang out, shoot the shit with us, check some things out, and honestly, you don't have to come here and buy nothing. Yeah, come check it out.
Just come look.
I am passionate about what I do. And I love to show people things, teach people things. And believe me, I don't know everything, but I love to teach what I know. I love to show things. So
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, you don't have to buy nothing. Just come check it out, and it is free to come and check it out. We don't charge you to get in.
You're in a great spot. So once I knew where you were, it's Wisco. Those are listening. There's basically veins in any city, but College Avenue and Wisconsin Avenue are really the big ones.
Yep, the 2 center veins.
And it's right on Wisconsin Avenue. And there's like bakeries, chocolate
and a massive front window, which I'll tell you what,
cannot miss.
That has been phenomenal for us, because you can walk out this door. There are over 15,000 cars a day down this road, and you can walk out this door, and I guarantee you will not sit outside for more than 15 minutes without seeing several people, as they go by our window, drop their jaw. And to me, to be able to sit out on that front bench and watch people just in amazement for what we've done with our store, that's cool,
Yeah, I hope that, if you stay, because sometimes when you get big, you have to go to a bigger city. So I hope that you stay at least this shop when you get bigger, because when I come home, I need a place where I can come and be weird.
Yep.
Because it's great.
In 9 years now, we've upgraded. This is our 4th store upgrade. And I've discussed with my girlfriend, Amy, that after this one, I'm not remodeling another building. We are going to build the store.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out.
Right. But then, I mean, the gloves are off. You don't have to say, well, the walls that are here are XYZ.
Right.
You can just do what the heck you want.
Yep.
So I love that. Well, I know that you are a busy guy. You are headed to Milwaukee.
We are going to the Oddities and Curiosities Expo in Milwaukee.
Awesome. I go to the one in Columbus. It'll be there on the 20th.
Yeah, Amy and I travel around the country and hit a lot of them in different areas, and we try to hit different ones. But we have a lot of oddity store owner friends throughout the country, a lot of artist friends throughout the country that are at these expos. So we go and hang out with our friends, and people ask us, do you set up and vend? We don't. I've worked years to bring people to me, and I try to do that now because being 50 years old, hauling trailers full of stuff, setting up.
No, thank you.
It's exhausting. So a few times a year, Amy and I travel around to these expos, and we help our friends do that. So we'll help our friends set up. Most of them will just say, as long as Scott's staying out of the way, he's helping. So
right.
So my daughter's actually at the expo. Was at the expo this morning, helping a friend from North Carolina who owns a store.
They're awesome.
Dark and Deviant Oddities is Justin's store, but my daughter's there helping this morning set up so they can sell this weekend. But we're going to go hang out with, unfortunately, Tink will be in the store this weekend covering us, but all the rest of the employees from 43 Skulls will be hanging out at this expo. A couple of them are taking taxidermy classes. We've got an Airbnb where we've got the 12 of us staying. Should be a fun time.
That sounds like a hoot and a holler,
and
I love it. I saw when they come, I've always wanted to take this. They have a spider one that they do, and then they've done like a what is it, like ground varmint, essentially different critters.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, but I don't know if I can do that. My little heart, I'm a weirdo that way. Well, again, thank you so much for coming, guys. You're going to see a random clip of me walking around, probably doing a little audio. I'm on the search for something again for our GhouliCon touch table. I believe I have found an item. It comes from an asylum, or at least a duplicate of something that had been from an asylum, but it looks like it's been handled and worn. We want you guys to check it out so you can see what energy may be on and still remaining in that item. So thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Good to meet you finally.